Hey y'all, what's going on? Long time no see. I know, been a little while since I made a video, but I figured I'd come out here and get you guys caught up on what's going on. So, when I left y'all last, we were putting on some finishing touches on this old 1966 one-ton Chevy pickup. We put some bumpers on the front of it, the bumper guard and all that. I think it looks pretty cool. I told you guys that we were going to come in and we were going to kind of dull this orange paint down. It's a bit too shiny for my taste. I don't like it. If you missed the videos, we actually spray painted this entire truck, kind of its original two-tone orange and white. And well, it's super shiny, and I don't really want it to be shiny. I want it to be a lot duller, kind of mimic an old paint job that maybe survived all these years, you know what I mean? So, I got me a little piece of red Scotch-Brite. They make different variations of this. This is kind of pretty coarse, about the equal to like 320, 400 grit sandpaper. You could do gray Scotch-Brite, which isn't quite as coarse. Maybe try that out, see what it does first, and then if it's not enough, maybe go to something a little coarser like this here. This seems to be working out really good. I've already done the door, and it's looking exactly the way I want it to. I'm gonna give this a little wipe down here, let it dry for a second. Then you get the real idea of what it's gonna look like and if you might need to go over it again. So yeah, the door I've already gone 2 times. I've gone over the whole thing once already, and now I'm going back over with a second hit with the Scotch-Brite. And you can see here, see how that's starting to dull out a little bit? It's not quite so shiny. Like this is what it looks like when it's first sprayed, really shiny. And then this over here is what we're coming up with, kind of a dulled down version. And what that looks like, to me, in my mind, that just looks like something that's survived all these years. And I like that so much better than just a fresh spray paint quality job where it's got a little bit of splotchiness here and there. If you were to look at it, like angle it off in the light, and the lighting was just right, you would see a little bit of splotchiness here and there where it's kind of shiny and kind of, you know what I mean? That's just kind of the way it goes with spray paint. It looked pretty dang decent. I know a lot of you guys loved it being shiny and you told me to leave it shiny, but I just didn't care for it. And this is the look that I think is going to work really nice. You can see it goes good with that white top. Like I said, this is 2 times going over with the Scotch-Brite. If you were to look up here around this area, we've only gone over it once, and it's still pretty dang shiny, even after going over it 1 time with the Scotch-Brite in the water. Still pretty shiny. Not caring for that too much. I like the way this looks much better over here. I hope that the camera's picking it up good, but kind of has just a really good dullness to it. You see there, yeah, that's what we're going for there. I don't think the camera's doing it justice. I bet you guys probably can't even tell much of a difference on the camera, but trust me, here in person, that's looking exactly the way I want it to, and I'm gonna go ahead and go over the rest of it. When we're done with that, we've got some stuff back here that we're gonna do also. Got some of this Rust-Oleum. This is Rust Reformer. It's gonna convert this surface rust to a nice paintable surface, kind of protected at the same time. And nothing back here is excessively rusted. There's really no flake or anything. It's just surface rust. So all we really need to do, just kind of go through, wipe this down, maybe do just a little bit of wire brushing here and there, maybe up inside the frame rails. I can see here just a little bit more rust in there. All surface rust though, no holes, nothing like that. In fact, this truck is virtually rust free altogether. So anyway, we'll go through, we'll coat all of that down, get it ready for our flatbed. In case you missed the previous videos, we're gonna build a custom flatbed for this truck, a skirted flatbed, meaning it'll have like toolboxes down on the bottom of it and stuff like that. So it ought to be pretty cool. It'll have a 5th wheel hitch, all that good stuff. But for now, we're gonna finish up with this, and then we'll move on to that and maybe do some other things while we're at it. We'll see. But I really do like this color combination. I think it's awesome. Glad we went with it. It's pretty much its original colors, you know. This truck started out life orange and white. Had us all thinking it may have been a U-Haul truck in the past. We're not even sure. For those of you guys that don't know, just to get everybody kind of caught up on this, this is a 1966 cab and front end that's just sitting on like a 1973, 74 frame. It's a 1-ton frame. That kind of gave us an upgrade on our suspension and our engine. This now has a V8 engine with a 4-speed granny. Pretty cool, kind of nostalgic. Independent front suspension, which it didn't have before. I believe it was straight axle before, and I believe it was a straight 6 before. So, bit of an upgrade there on the old drivetrain, and it's fun to drive. We got it running and driving and everything, and it's kind of fun. It rides really rough because it's set up to haul a lot of weight, being that 1-ton suspension, but I have some plans to maybe soften it up a bit. Yeah, this thing's made to haul some serious weight with these big old springs. I mean, look at the stack of springs in this thing. I think we'll be taking some of those out, trying to soften it up just a little bit. And I got some good news for y'all. If you've been following along on this build, I kind of let the cat out of the bag on the last video that this truck is probably going to be heading to a construction site and it's going to get beat on. That's why it's getting the flatbed. They're actually going to put this thing in service and use it out on the old construction sites. And guess what? I was wrong on that. That's right. This guy is like, no, it's turning out too nice. There's no way I'm going to let anybody beat on this. And he's going to go ahead and preserve the truck and just use it as just regular use. Just something for him to kind of play around with. So that's cool, man. That is good news. Okay, y'all. So I've been working on this for a few minutes, and look, man, I done went off and did it. I burnt through it. Look, crap. What are we gonna do now, right? Look, oh man, I done burnt through it up here too. Oh man, I burnt through it over here. Oh my God, I really burnt through it through here. Look at all that. Look at all that. Now, some of you guys are going to hate me for that. Some of you guys were very, very adamant about me not putting a patina on this, you know. And, you know, I just could not help myself. So I just went through kind of some of the upper surfaces there where the sun would beat down on it and just kind of mimicked some of the old patina, kind of make it look like it faded all the way through, you know. I'm going to work on it a little bit more. I'm going to try to keep it subtle. We're not going to get crazy with it. Just mostly along the edges and stuff. We'll add a little bit more through here, kind of make it look a little more natural. Okay, a little something up here. You know how it is. You put gas in it, it spills over. We're going to mimic all that. But I want you to notice, do you see how flat it's starting to look? That is starting to look like a 40, 50-year-old paint job, and that's what we're going for with this. So the patina, it just fits into it perfect. And I know some of you guys are burnt out on patina, especially fake patina. And we're not going to quite go that far with it, you know, to add like rust and fake rust and, you know, fake scratches and all that kind of stuff. But I do want to go over around these edges and just kind of burn through it just a little bit. Back down to that old ugly color that was underneath. You guys remember that god-awful paint scheme that it had before. Somebody had repainted this, in case you missed the older videos, and it looked like Barney the dinosaur. It was terrible. But as patina, it works. I mean, that just adds kind of another layer, you know, if you will, of depth to this old rattle can paint job. To me, it just gives it character. I love it. I love it. I like patina. I like even fake patina. Some guys out there are really, really good at this. Way better than I am. I promise you that. But we're not going to get that carried away with it. We're just having some fun. Okay, we're just trying different stuff. And the cool part about it is it's all just old Rust-Oleum rattle can paint that we bought down at the Walmart. We don't have very much into this. This is the perfect time to just mess around. I mean, hell, if I don't like it, $6, $7 for another can of paint, problem solved, right? So why not have some fun? Ain't no point having a YouTube channel if you're not going to get out here and just kind of take advantage of it, you know? Because thanks to you guys, we could just run out to Walmart and get some more paint if we want. And that's all because you guys are watching the videos. You're hitting the thumbs up. You're leaving little comments. It's awesome. I try to get to as many comments as I can. Usually about the first 2 hours after I put a video out, I'm hammering the comment section, replying to pretty much everybody. But after about 2 hours, my eyes feel like they're cooked, man. I can't stare at my phone for any longer. I mean, I literally have like tears pouring down my face. It's terrible. But I do like to spend the first couple of hours answering as many of you guys as I possibly can. And I appreciate all of your input. Look at there. We got some burning through already. I'm using 320 grit sandpaper, which is pretty close to the coarseness of our red Scotch-Brite. So when you're doing it with the water like this, it keeps the grits clean. That way nothing gets, you see all that? Well, hell, you dip it in the water and it comes back clean. That keeps the sandpaper from clogging up. Once the sandpaper clogs up, you're not sanding anymore. You're just rubbing paper back and forth. So we don't want that, right? But you can see, man, just little by little, it starts to come through and it looks pretty dang natural. It looks like the weather did it. It looks like it's been getting beat on by the sun for years and years, and that's kind of what we're going for here. So once I get that done, I'll come back with my Scotch-Brite. Oh, I had it just a second ago. Where'd it go? And then we'll come back through and go over it, and it'll start to kind of ghost through a little bit more. And this will kind of work out the sanding scratches. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. You could kind of see the sanding scratches. That doesn't look natural. So once you go back over it with this a few times, you could even change it up to maybe go to like an 800 grit, 600 grit probably would be better, and rub back and forth over this. And instantly you'll start to kind of feather everything out, and then it'll look like paint that's actually faded away versus being paint that we just sanded off of here, you see. So I will probably go grab me a piece of 600 grit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll just keep dipping our sandpaper down in the water there. Like I said, keeps the grit clean, makes it to where we don't clog up our paper. So, yeah, man, you get to sit and just watch those scratches just go away. And then now look at that. That looks like a natural occurrence, man. Like the weather just faded that paint right off of there. And that's what we're going for. And then, of course, once it dries, it'll chalk up like that. Have a nice thing. That looks shiny there. Now it looks more natural. I like the way that's looking. I know some of you guys don't like it, but I friggin' love it. And you know what? Just go get your own channel. You can do it however you want, right? Well, I think I'm just about done with this side. I'll get it all cleaned up, and then I'll show you guys kind of a side-by-side comparison. Tell me what you guys think, man. Be honest. Tell me if you think I'm on the right track. I know we've all had the big debate on the patina look and how it's been played out over the years, blah, blah, blah. I know. But I just think it fits what we're doing here. It just kind of all ties together, you know? Because let's be honest, we are not going to accomplish a show quality paint job with spray paint, first of all. Second of all, we knew going into this that we weren't going to get super carried away. So we didn't do any kind of priming and blocking and all that kind of stuff. So obviously the body on this thing is not straight. It is rust free, but it's not straight. It's got a lot of war wounds over the years. I mean, what is this thing, 50 some odd, 60 years old? So we just wanted to do what we could do to make it look better, kind of make it look cool, you know, without breaking the bank and spending countless hours out here doing all that paint and bodywork stuff. And like I said, we're just trying to have a little bit of fun with this thing and make it look better than it did. And I think we're on the right track. I think this looks awesome. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break for now on this part of it. And we're going to come back here and do some of this rust converting. I want to get some of this on this frame. And before we do that, we'll have to go through and do a little bit of light wire brushing here and there. Only on the scaly stuff. Remember I showed you here. There's a little bit of scale up in there. That's the heaviest. That's the heaviest we have right there. Nothing is flaking off of this thing. Like I said earlier, no holes or anything like that in it. I'm going to have to go through and blow out. You can see, I mean, look at all that. We got to get all of that out of there. We can't, obviously, can't paint over any of that. Look at, boy, it's got a lot in there. So yeah, we'll do stuff like that. Kind of dig that out, blow it off with a air hose, and we got a little bit of something going on there. We'll get a little bit off of there with our wire wheel, and then we'll start spraying. I think this is a good place to start as any. Golly, this side's just as bad over here. Let's hit it up with our wire brush here and there on just the rough spots. And now we paint. I'm gonna get this stuff on here kind of liberally, so don't be trying to like dust it on, like just hose it on there. We'll go ahead and hit up the drive shaft too, because why not? Want an old rusty drive shaft down underneath here with all this fresh paint. Be sure and paint both sides of this thing. I would go ahead and paint these pipes too, but they need to be something like heat resistant, so we'll hold off on those. But we can shoot the exhaust brackets while we're here, why not? Here, I found some high temp flat aluminum just laying over on the counter. Let's see. Surely this will look better than rust, right? Break out the creeper. We can get underneath here and spray both sides of the pipe. I think while we're under here, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and spray the bottom side of our frame too. Man, that looks so much better. It's amazing what a little bit of spray paint can do. I know technically this isn't spray paint, it's rust reformer. It's supposed to convert all that rust where you can actually come in and spray paint over it, and it's supposed to make it a little bit better than if you had just sprayed paint straight over the rust. There we go. With the pipes, I mean, that definitely looks better than the rust that we had a minute ago. And I think I'm gonna call that good back there. For now, maybe after we get the bed put on it and all that, we'll go back and just bomb the rear end of this thing with a lot of maybe like a semi-gloss spray paint and paint over the rust reformer there. But for now, that's what it looks like. I think that's freaking awesome. So I'm liking the way this is all turning out. I like that how it's just barely shining through. I think that looks freaking awesome. All this down the side looks good. A little few spots on the hood I think is okay. And then come around here. See how that just kind of fades, like the paint has just kind of worn away. I'm not caring so much about this area here. I think it's kind of random, you know, there's just not enough going on, but I don't want to make a whole lot. Like I don't want to take over the whole hood. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to fix this area by just adding some more to it, and then we'll do some more sanding after that. Let's add a little bit of brown in there. I don't even know what color this is. Some kind of a GM brown. And it is old, dude. We'll take a wadded up lint-free paper towel that's been soaked in lacquer thinner. It's just damp with lacquer thinner. It's not like you could wring it out or anything. I'm just gonna kind of come through here and kind of blotch on this a little bit. Just like so. Just kind of trying to give it a little bit of a texture. The reason I'm doing just a damp paper towel instead of doing a really wet paper towel, that lacquer thinner, I don't want it to damage the surrounding paint, the orange. I don't want to mess with it. So I'm just kind of using just a damp paper towel. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for a minute. If you get a piece of the paper towel stuck, don't worry, just peel it right on out of there. There we go. That actually adds a little more character. I went ahead and let that dry to the touch, and now I'm gonna hit it up with just a little bit of flat black. Let's get some of that in there. Really thin layers is all we're trying to do here. And it's worth mentioning that if you use flat colors, they dry a lot faster, and when you go back to sand them down, they're not so likely to gum up your sandpaper like gloss colors do. So I'm trying to keep them flat. Some of it's not, it's just leftover stuff I've got laying around, but this should, you know, go thin, because the idea is we're going to go back and sand through all of these layers to get the desired look that we want. And the thicker you put it on there, the longer you're going to be sanding, you know what I mean? So I've got me a really crappy paintbrush here, and I'm just going to dip it in some lacquer thinner, let most of it drip back out, and we're just going to kind of rake it across here. Kind of create a mess, really. That's okay. We want it messy. We want a texture. All right, so now I'm going to leave that alone. Let's add a little bit of red. I don't know why not? It's just one of the colors I got laying around. It's a gloss color, so I have to go really sparingly on it. If you get it too heavy, remember, it's going to gum up your sandpaper. I let every layer dry before I add the next layer. Even when we did the lacquer thinner with the paintbrush, I wait, I let it dry, and then I come back with the next layer. Got my paper towel with the lacquer thinner. Remember, just kind of damp on the rag, nothing too crazy. Just creating texture, that's all we're doing here. Just kind of, we want it ugly, believe it or not, we want it ugly. I know a lot of you guys have done this yourselves. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You just want it ugly. All right, let's let that dry for a few minutes. All right, let's cover this back up with some orange. Different brand this time. Like I said, this is just stuff I got laying around. We've been painting this whole thing with the Rust-Oleum. So this will be interesting. Obviously not the right shade at all, but that's okay. That's okay. Remember, we want it to look all faded and everything anyway, so we're going to go back and sand most of this stuff back off. Let's start with that, see what happens. So let that orange tack up. I'm going to go back with my crappy dirty brush here. It's worth mentioning that I'm letting most of that lacquer thinner run out of that brush. So we're just kind of dry brushing it here. creating that texture. And I'm just kind of experimenting here. Never even tried this before, actually. So who knows if this is even going to work out or not. We'll see. I think I'll leave that like that. That's exactly how I want it to look as far as texture goes. I just want everything to be kind of rough and just really old looking. You can see we've got paint kind of lifting here and there. That'll look great when we go back and start sanding. I've even got little pieces of paper towel stuck in it here and there. That'll sand out too, and then you'll be exposing those other layers of colors that we stuck in there. And it should start to turn out looking kind of like what we got over on the sides. We'll see. That's kind of the fun thing about this kind of stuff, is there's really no way to screw it up. You could just try whatever, see what works. If it doesn't, spray back over it, try it again. I've never done anything like this big when it comes to this whole patina thing. I've mostly done it on like motorcycle stuff, smaller pieces. But I wanted to try it on something. I figured this truck is the perfect candidate for this. All right, let's take our wet sandpaper. This is our 320 grit sandpaper here. We're gonna start sanding some of this stuff back. I have no idea what we're gonna come up with yet. I'm sure it'll just kind of come to life on its own. And the thing is, if all else fails, we'll just go back with this orange and just spot it right back in and start all over again. I mean, like I said, there's really no way to truly screw it up, and it's very forgiving. Let's just put it that way. So I've been working this down with my 320 grit wet paper, just wet sanding this, and basically what I'm wanting to do, what I've been doing, is trying to work back some of that orange paint that we sprayed on top that was slightly the wrong shade. I'm just trying to get it to kind of all feather together. And what I think I'm going to end up doing after this is done, we're getting some cool stuff going on here, y'all. I'll show you here in just a second in case you can't see it from that angle. Just let me work back some more of that lighter orange that we put on top. We're getting down to the good stuff. This is pretty cool. The cool part is it looks really rough and textury, and then you feel it and it's nice and smooth because you've been sanding it. Pretty cool. And then I'll go back over it again with probably like some 600. Yeah, this is all starting to tie together. See, when you first put that light orange on there, it's like, oh god, oh, that's way too much. But then once you start working everything back down, you get what it's actually gonna look like. And if we were to hide that underneath some more of this orange, you know, the color that we actually repainted the truck, and then go and sand it back down to this again, that would look so much better than what we've got going on up here, where we just got a random spot here and there. I don't like that. That doesn't look right to me. The paint job, the overall paint job looks too good to just have a random little spot here and there. So that's why I kind of kicked it into high gear. I wasn't actually going to do any of the patina look, but the more I messed around with this thing, the more I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it. If I don't like it, I'll just paint it over again and forget about it. But I'm liking it though, dude. This is pretty freaking cool. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, man, I've just been going over this with my 320. I've switched over to my 600 now. I'm gonna give it a nice little smoothing up here, finish it off. And you see how all those other colors are starting to come through, and you look here in this spot and it looks truly like an old paint job. And it's a bit much. I'm just trying to show you guys what you could do here for all of you that's new to this, that's never done it before. We're not going to leave it like this. I'm going to make it a little more subtle than this when it's finished, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. But you can see, look at that. That looks old, y'all. That looks like an old paint job. I mean, look, you got all these textures going on, and that all feels nice and smooth. All this feels really smooth. It just looks rough. So imagine like coming back and clear coating over all this. That would look pretty freaking cool, and it'd be really smooth in. But yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out, man. And like I said, I'll go back with some orange for everybody's freaking out right now. We're going to go back with this orange, spray it over the top nice and evenly, and then we'll sand it some more and burn back down into some of this here and there. And then we'll get rid of the just a little spot here and you know, the little random spots here and there. I don't like that. That's why I stopped. I didn't even carry on with the rest of it. I stopped right there. I was like, I don't like this. I want to make some changes. Let's play around with it a little bit, see what we could come up with. Like I said earlier, I love the way the sides are looking. I think that looks pretty cool, pretty natural, nothing over the top. It's not too excessive or anything. We might go through and add just a little bit more here and there, nothing too crazy. I think when you look at that, you kind of get the idea of what we're going for. But this stuff here, I hate it. It's like random. I don't like that. It needs to kind of all tie together like the way it does on the sides here. So anyway, we'll dry all this off and we'll hit it up with some more orange. While that's drying, because you have to let it dry for quite a while or it'll just sit and gum up your sandpaper, and you don't want that. So the only way you're going to get any of this stuff to kind of start feathering out to where it starts to kind of look like it's just barely bleeding through. You guys see here, look at this good example where it's just kind of bleeding through. The only way you get that effect, you got to let the paint dry, or otherwise it just tears it while you're trying to sand it, clogs up your sandpaper. It's no fun. It'll take forever. It takes all the fun out of it. I'm actually having fun doing this, and I don't want to go screwing all that up by getting in a hurry. So yeah, let's clean all that off. Let's spray another coat of the orange, and then let's move on and see if we can't create some more of that over on the other side and get it ready for another little coat of orange. When it's all done, we'll go through, sand it all, and then that will complete our hood. The hood's kind of the centerpiece, right? Hoods take a beating from the sun, from the heat coming up from the engine. Hoods take a beating. So if you're going to do patina and have it even look anywhere near natural, you got to kind of get in there and do some stuff, you know what I mean? And by no means am I an expert at this. I think I might have mentioned earlier, this is the first time I've actually done this. So I'm experimenting, dude. I'm having fun. I'm taking what little bit I know about it from doing gas tanks and stuff like that on Harleys and applying it to this, just much bigger scale. And it's pretty interesting. I like it. It's fun. Yeah, kind of an interesting process doing all of this. It's kind of, the sky's the limit, I guess. You just keep going until you reach the desired effect that you're looking for. And a lot of this is just a matter of building up different layers and then sanding back down to each layer. And some of it, you'll get a little bit of the black, you'll get a little bit of the brown, a little bit of the red. You know, you get weird stuff like that going on. Makes it look textury. It looks like all kinds of stuff's been raked across the hood, from tree branches to tools, people doing Dukes of Hazzard slides, whatever. It just kind of, it looks like something that's been around for a really long time. Now, like I said, we're going to cover that up with another layer of orange, and then it will become much more subtle. It won't be so in your face like it is right now. All right, you guys, what do y'all think, man? Have I ruined it so far? Do I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down, man? Y'all be honest. But hey, unfortunately, I'm going to leave you hanging. This video is getting too long for all this, so I'll come back with a part 2. And no worries, I'm going to come back right quick. So we'll pick up right where we left off here next day or two, and we'll find out if this is even going to work or not, and how the rest of it's going to turn out. I still got a whole half a truck going on here. Yeah, we still got to do the whole other side, so yeah, still plenty left to do on it. But man, I'm really liking how the back of that turned out. That does tie everything together, having all that rust gone. We're not looking at it no more. And it just ties together with the orange so well. And yeah, like I mentioned before, we'll go in and we'll do some of the same process to the roof, a little bit here and there, something kind of subtle, because I like the way the white looks. I don't really want to mess with it too much. It really brightens up the truck and makes it look really nice. So we won't do a whole lot with that. I have some custom chrome trim, the original stuff that goes right here. I thought, like, hey man, maybe we should polish that stuff up and put it on this truck. The truck that it is on now is no longer being needed because it has a chop top now, so none of the trim works for it anymore. So maybe we'll donate it to this. You guys leave me a comment, man. What do you think? Chrome trim, it's the custom, you know, it says custom on it and all that. Might be kind of cool on there. What do y'all think? So yeah, you guys be sure and leave me a comment. I like hearing your input, and I'll try to get back to as many of you guys as I possibly can, just like I always do. I appreciate all the support with you guys, and I will see y'all next time on the next video.